In this episode, Kate and David listen to some of their favorite music from Twilight Princess.
Hello and welcome to another Zelda podcast. Hi everyone, this is your every once in a while occasional host Kate May here today, and I am joined, of course, by the always amazing David Geisler.
Always amazing.
Always amazing.
Oh my gosh, I'll take it. Wow.
I mean, I don't know if people that listen to our show know this, but David does all the work, so he is always amazing because he's the one doing the editing and the posting and all that good stuff and all the very hard work that comes with the podcast. I just sit here and talk for a couple hours. So
honestly, all of it is worth it to hang out with you and do this.
Oh,
I'm not joking. I don't mind getting a little sentimental there.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. And I'm very happy that David has come to my house today to do a little recording sesh for our episode today, which is talking about the music of Twilight Princess.
It's kind of classic. I was thinking about this on the drive up here. Season 5 here, the episodes that you and I have been putting together, the ones that we're able to do together, like we're really kind of going classic, like we were doing in season 1 and 2. We did a review episode. We're doing some top 10s. But we haven't done a music episode in a couple of years. Yeah, and it's really neat. I'm loving it.
I'm a creature of habit, so I love when we do musics and top 10s and reviews and favorites and all that good stuff. Those are my favorite kind of things. So
yeah, that's great. We've been able to really do some interesting topics with some of the other people that have kind of guest hosted. Yeah. But it is nice to get back to these classics once in a while.
My brain cannot think of new ideas, so I just go back to same old, and I appreciate that we have other people whose brains do work and can think of other formats of episodes. Because I sure can.
I think we're due for like a favorite Deku species episode or something sometime soon. I don't know, because we did the Zoras and the Gorons. We gotta circle back around. But anyway, I don't know if we ever did Rito either, by the way. But anyways, that's for another day.
There are endless episodes to record.
We have listener feedback somewhere. I don't know if it's in this episode or another one where someone actually said, "I can't believe you're in season 5 and still coming up with new things to talk about," and they meant it, I think, as a compliment. And I mean, I agree.
I kind of agree too.
But there is so much to talk about.
There is. The more you kind of do research for these episodes, the more, in my case, like websites you find that talk about different things and get into really deep detail on certain parts. So like we're not the only ones thinking about these things, and so it's cool that you can kind of grab sources from other people that have.
And Kate, honestly, like we've been around enough now. We started this in the end of 2017. We've been around enough now that like some of the other Zelda loving entities out there, like Zelda Dungeon and Zelda Universe, and some of these other podcasts. Conversations, like there's a little bit of a dialogue going now with it, and I really feel like we're part of the party, and that's really great.
Part of the cool kids club.
Yeah, we made it.
Yes, finally. It only took 5 years.
Well, I have some listener feedback, and I actually some of it's really quick, so I have a little more than normal. I might have like 7 of them here. Cool. Oh, I have 9, but some of them are quick, and I just wanted to include them. Did you just say wow?
Wow. Go for
All right,
it.
so here we go. This was a back in April. So as of this recording, actually kind of recent, April 2022, over on Apple Podcasts, Onyx Osprey gave us a 5-star review. Super grateful.
Thank you.
And the title is More Than Just Another Zelda Podcast. They go on to say, a fun and cozy retrospective on the series that was a foundational pillar of my childhood. The hosts are entertaining to listen to, and the episode topics are always thought-provoking. I've especially enjoyed the quiz episodes. I hope to see more of them in the future. We don't have anything planned for you and I to do a quiz episode this season, but I don't want to put you on the spot, but you have mentioned to me that you might have some fun hosting one of those.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
If there's ever a time where we do like a in real life one, I'm gonna like really ask you to participate on that one. Because you've got the bar trivia background anyway.
I do. I'm used to hosting that kind of thing, and I'm secretly game show kind of fan where I used to watch Game Show Network, like whenever my family and I would go on vacation, and we didn't have Game Show Network, but if we would go on vacation, the hotel did. Like that's what I would be watching is Game Show Network as a child. So kind of a
Is
thing.
that GSN? Is
Yeah,
that what it was?
yeah.
Wow.
You know, all
Crazy.
the old school ones, but some really terrible new game show. It was great.
That's great. I know you have that in you and that performer side of you.
Yes.
You haven't done any plays recently, have you?
I
Because
have-
of COVID stuff and everything.
Right. I'm gonna try to like get back out there, depending on the show. I prefer to act in like straight plays and like fast ones, not very heavy, like dramatic. I like a short drama or like a quick comedy.
To
Like,
be into
it has to
participating.
be short and quick either way because I don't know. I'm lazy, I guess, but
It's
I
been a
still
long
love
time for
acting.
me. It's been 5-6 years for me, actually.
Yeah.
And I will admit, there's a couple community theaters in my neighborhood in Chicago, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll do a little side eye once in a while and see what they might have on their queue.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm having so much fun making all these podcasts and stuff that's good for me. But anyway,
Yeah.
we'll move on. Onyx Osprey, thank you so much for that 5-star review. I have another 5-star review over here on Apple Podcasts. Aileen 1029, if I'm pronouncing this correctly. Quick one here, says it's just titled Zelda. 5-star review. I am 10 years old and I love the Zelda games. You guys make a really good podcast. Thank you so much.
Aw, that's so cute.
Thank you, Aileen.
love
Aileen, Aileen, 1029. Love
Aw.
it. I think that's super sweet. All of those reviews over there on Apple Podcasts help us out so much.
Yes.
I say it every single time. It's actually one of the most it's one of the strongest ways that you can support the show because the algorithms really feed off the reviews more than anything. Over here on YouTube, Ralph Uman on our Link's Awakening episode, back season 1, episode 6, Kate.
Wow.
Ralph here says, went back to some old episodes and absolutely love this one. I'm playing Link's Awakening on the Game & Watch for the first time. Oh, right, the Zelda,
Oh, yeah.
that Game & Watch that came out last year has
Yeah.
Link's Awakening on it. At first, I was kind of like, what the heck on Game & Watch? I love that can even be a sentence. I'm playing Link's Awakening on the Game & Watch for the first time, and I'm really enjoying it. I live in the Netherlands, and every time an episode comes out, I listen to it while cycling to school. Big fan of the podcast. Green heart emoji.
Aw.
Oh, that's a great one, Ralph. Thank you. I love visualizing our fans and our listeners listening to the show during the different activities they're doing.
And across the world too, which is really cool.
Yeah, a lot of really exciting things in that comment. Thank you, Ralph, so much. I'm going to move on to another YouTube one here. James Alexander commented on our favorite dwelling episodes, which was the first episode of this season. Kate, James Alexander here says, longtime listener, first-time commenter. You guys really do a great job. So glad Kate is back as a semi-regular host.
Aw.
All the other contributors are great, but Dave and Kate just have a really special podcast chemistry together. That makes the show a real treat to listen to. Keep doing what you're doing. Well, that's very sweet, James.
Thank you.
I concur. I concur. Ryan Betts over here, another favorite dwellings comment. Oh, this is interesting. I don't know if I've read this one all the way through. It's a bit longer, so here we go.
Okay.
Ryan Betts says, "Congrats on season 5, guys. Got a little behind on the podcast at the beginning of the year, but it's been great catching back up on the pod in the last couple of weeks." Pardon me. I agree with Shadow Fae. Shadow Fae at Shadow FAE is a person who tweets us a lot and has. Oh yeah, okay. You
I
recognize?
recognize,
the name.
yes.
Yep. I agree with Shadow Fae about my favorite dwelling being Snow Peak Ruins. The idea of an entire dungeon itself being a dwelling was a really fun theme, which I feel like Nintendo explored pretty well. Although personally, it's a little too cold. Oh, I think if we're thinking about it as an actual favorite to dwell in.
Right.
Although personally, I think it's a little too cold as in need of too many renovations for me to want to actually live there. I think I would want to live in Giovanni's house from Twilight Princess as long as it comes with all the gold coins stacked up on the walls, wall to wall. That mortgage would literally pay for itself. And Gengle the cat. Kate, so excited that you will be playing Oracle of Ages. That was my very first Zelda game with fantastic puzzles and music, and I think deserves more credit than it gets. Plus, if you like Lorelyn Village, you just wait till you get to Tokay Island. So I know you are. We're actively playing Oracle of Ages right now.
Yes.
I'm kind of going in and out. I'll play like a dungeon and then I'll stop for a month and I'm going back in. But we gave
Right.
ourselves time to play it. I think you're having a similar experience.
Yes.
And I think you've made it to Tokay Island. That's like somewhere around the 3rd dungeon. That's the lizard guys.
I think I'm right before that.
Just before?
Like
Yeah.
on the way, basically.
Cool. Yeah.
Because I am about like a few dungeons in, but I don't think I'm there quite yet. So I must be like on the way there.
I think you'll enjoy it. There
Yeah.
is a puzzle when you first get. There's a little bit of Eventide Island where when you get there, you're kind of like you lose all your items. And there's a few minutes where, for maybe 5-10 minutes for me, when I got to that point, I was like, why? And I kind of like, kind of grumbled a little bit and kept playing for 10 minutes. But then, of course, you get a thing, and it starts opening back up. And so if you hit that point, Kate, I encourage you to just push through.
Okay.
Right?
Thank you for the pep talk.
Just saying.
Appreciate it.
Josh Martinez on this kind of looks like it might be Instagram. I'm not sure. Said, just finished. I'm reading it from a weird angle. Here we go. Just finished binging the entire podcast over the last month, and man, was it good. David, Kate, and their fantastic rotating cast have a lot of interesting and in-depth conversations about the Legend of Zelda franchise. Listening up to them is like listening to a conversation among friends hanging out. What makes AZP so relatable is they emphasize they are fans first and not always experts. Mm-hmm. Nice. Helping welcome in those like me who may be intimidated because they aren't diehards. I'm so excited for season 5 and beyond. Green heart emoji. Okay, so we must have received this comment, a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Josh, awesome. Thank you so much.
I will never call myself an expert, that's for sure.
It's more fun not being one.
Right.
It's more fun being a fan. Let's
Right.
face it.
Agreed.
All right, just a few left here. Looks like, yep, here we go. Okay. Another favorite dwellings. Wow, a lot of favorite dwelling input here. Can't believe we're here. Love the show, and I can continuously listen to you, Kate and David and company on repeat whilst mopping the floors. When we get a new episode, it's like Christmas. Keep up the great work. Sincerely, your average Hylian. Green heart emoji.
Aww.
Over here on Apple Podcasts, just plain good, Aaron Kane 13 says. And Aaron Kane 13 says, an awesome production where the hosts all seem to just really enjoy the franchise a ton. Instant favorite. Can't stop listening. Glad I found AZP in the 4th season. Plenty to catch up on. Yeah, but we do like it when people go back into those old episodes.
Yep. And you can listen in any order you want. So that's nice. Like you
I
can
love
just
it.
kind of go at your own pace and listen to whatever you want.
Well, there's a ton of love there. That was actually a very ego-boosting set of comments, I'll admit.
Yeah.
A lot of AZP love and a lot of love coming from us back to all those people that are contributing and listening and commenting. And it's just really sweet.
Well, thank you, everybody, for sending such lovely things. And I like when I'm part of it. So thanks for mentioning.
There's one of them. It might be, I saw one in our listener feedback where someone said something about our laughs are iconic now.
Oh.
Because you have a laugh and I have a laugh, and apparently... Anyways.
I don't know that I would think about myself in that way, but I mean, that's very nice of them to say.
If I had to guess, my iconic laugh is when I old man wheeze and I go... All right, let's get into it.
I like that one.
That's when I'm really laughing. That's when it's real. Is when I get that
wheezy.
When I sound like the penguin from Toy Story.
I get real loud if I'm really laughing, like obnoxious.
Oh yeah.
But it doesn't happen very often, and I think I'd be too self-conscious to do it on like here, because I'm always aware of like what I'm doing and what I'm saying and what I sound like. So I'd be too scared to go all out. But I'm glad I have an iconic.
It's gonna happen someday.
Yes,
it's gonna happen someday when you least expect it.
Ha ha ha! It kind of sounds like not really. So anyway, we can hop into our topic if that sounds.
Oh, did we not set it up? Did we say it was Twilight Princess?
But
okay.
we can jump right in.
Let's do it.
So yeah, today we are talking about the music of Twilight Princess. So throughout this episode, we will be playing some songs that I grabbed and queued up here, and then David will be putting them into the podcast as well, so you lovely listeners can hear what we're talking about.
Yeah. We did this with Skyward Sword and I think Ocarina as well, way back in the day.
Uh-huh.
So I've got my headphones they're a little too big for this. So I'm just going to kind of hold them up like one to my ear, like I'm a music pop star.
Okay.
And you've got the right action here. You've got the earbud.
I got the.
You can still hear the normal world.
Earbuds, yes. Because I would be too freaked out that I can't hear anything else that's going on and speaking far too loudly.
Can you imagine we have like noise canceling headphones on and we're just like yelling our brains out the whole episode?
That's fine. Everyone would love to listen to that.
Kate, this is a good one.
I agree. So because I'm hosting this one, I kind of took the role as DJ and I pulled up 18 songs. Now, some of these will go faster than others because they're pretty repetitive. There are, so what I did was I went to YouTube and there's like basically a playlist by video games music, and there are literally 200 Twilight Princess songs.
Like in the playlist?
in the playlist.
Wow.
Now, some of these are just like more of a sound effect of like, you got an item, you know, so it's not, they're not all songs. So
like,
what I did.
Technically music was written, but it's only like 4 bars or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like what do TV shows call it? Like a sting or something.
A sting,
like that?
A bumper, maybe. Yeah, I think a sting.
So I'm in the know. I'm in the business.
Mm-hmm.
But I went through this list and I kind of scrolled through, and they go in chronological order, which is cool because I like pictured myself playing the game and listening to these songs.
Oh, I love that you did that.
Yeah.
I had no idea. That's great.
Yeah, and I pulled those 18 songs basically, and of course this is not the be all end all. We're not listening to every single thing, so there are likely songs that people listening to this will be like, "Why didn't you talk about this one? I love this song." So
these are the ones that Kate selected. So if we're not playing one that you like, it's her fault.
It's my fault.
No, of
Please at me.
No, it just means we get to do a second Twilight Princess music deep cuts episode.
Yeah, B-sides. So I pulled ones that they're going to be from dungeons, they're going to be from big areas, a couple character themes because those are of course unique to Twilight Princess, where they're not going to be like So for example, I didn't pull the In the House music because that song is in every game. It didn't sound too different when I listened to this version where it was like very unique and I wanted to talk about it. So there are some ones that are just like common throughout the games that I didn't necessarily pull. But if you want to get into the first one.
Oh, I can't wait. Let me pull up my headphones.
Yes,
I'm ready.
There we go. Okay, so the first one we're going to listen to.
Are we going in cold or are you setting it up? I'm cool with either. Ooh,
here we go.
We're in.
We're playing now. So this is Ordon Village.
So many emotions already.
I know. So just pulled the first one from the beginning of the game. I, in particular, love the little like wooden pipe sound that's playing right now because to me it evokes like someone playing an instrument in the morning. They've gotten up and they went outside and they're just kind of hanging out on the hillside playing their little pan flute or whatever it is. It evokes the pleasant farming village. Someone's just playing some tunes to pass the time. I have a note here that the composers of every Legend of Zelda game are so great at writing music that's perfect for an opening area.
Oh.
Because it's always like peaceful. Obviously, you want to get into the game, at least Legend of Zelda games, in kind of like a chill, like introductory kind of way. You're just wandering around, exploring its normal day-to-day life. And so I just love this song.
Oh, now we're kicking. Some other stuff's kicking in all of a sudden.
Some other instruments, some percussion.
We're we're slowly waking up, aren't we?
Yes.
I loved that idea of the pan flute. Like it's like that lone person just playing around.
Yeah.
The same way you might hear a guitar on a beach or something.
Yeah. And now the more instruments are coming in, it's kind of like the village is waking up and the people are going.
You know, it's interesting too because it's not they don't control it, but if you start, oh no, we're back.
It repeats.
Oh, was that basically the loop?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the first time I was in Ordon Village playing Twilight Princess on the GameCube. At first I was a touch overwhelmed. I was like, oh my gosh, there's all these new, because I was so used to Ocarina, but these graphics were more realistic and there's paths that were twisting and turning and all that kind of stuff. And, but now I just have such it's so relaxing. I just love hanging out in Ordon Village, honestly.
I know.
You know?
I know. That's one game. Well, obviously I love Twilight Princess. I've talked about that before, but it's one game where I just truly enjoy getting into it. Some games, if I've played them before, I get into it and, I'm like, the beginning of this game. Okay, I already know how to play the game, so you don't need to teach me how to play the game. And it's just kind of like,
I don't want to put you on the spot, but there is a fair amount of that in the beginning of Twilight Princess. Like,
I know.
Here's how you use your slingshot.
I know, but I don't mind it. That's the thing.
Maybe because it's all so beautiful.
It's just so pretty. So I didn't pull up the Ordon Ranch song because, it's kind of similar, but I put I like that one as well because that one has more horns to it. And it's just, again, another good opening area type of song.
I love it.
So. All right, so the next one we're going to do is Hylia's theme. And I'm so dumb because I didn't realize until right now that this is so similar to Epona's theme.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
Because
And it
the
should
notes
be.
are a little different, and it should be because she's like what I had to write down what someone's YouTube comment on this video was my horsewife.
Oh my goodness.
My horsewife.
The first half, blah, 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 and then they change it in the second half.
Yeah.
It might come up here again. I noticed it. Oh, this is different.
Yeah. So of course Hylia is the daughter of the mayor, and she's Epona's like caretaker, basically. If Link's character is doing a crappy job.
Pardon me. Let's see if it comes back. Yep, very similar.
Yep.
If it was Epona.
The notes are a little different. Like I think the spaces between, I mean, the notes themselves are different, but it's clearly meant to be
the
similar
changes
to
in the
Epona's
steps
theme.
are really similar.
Yes, exactly.
Oh boy, I love it.
So this is, of course, one of the recurring character themes that comes up several times in the game that's unique to Twilight Princess for Hylia. I didn't bring up everyone's theme, but there is another one coming up next. I wrote it's kind of like a lullaby. It's innocent, peaceful, tranquil.
A lullaby theme.
Don't you kind of, I mean...
Is this going to be Midna?
No, oh no, that's what Hylia's theme. I put a note. Yeah, that one is kind of like a lullaby.
Definitely.
I don't know. It's just kind of like childhood friendship, you know, because that's what it kind of.
There isn't a
is.
Malin or Marin character, type of character in Twilight Princess, is there? And so Hylia kind of becomes that.
Right. Exactly. So yeah. The next one.
You kind of
is
have Hylia's
indeed-
haircut right now.
I do.
I look at you.
She's my inspo. Not gonna lie, I would also like to be a horsewife. Sorry. All right, so the next one is actually
This is great.
Midna's
I'm loving this.
theme. So I'll bring up Midna's theme here.
Okay.
So obviously Twilight Princess can obviously get dark. And I love when the music gets creepy and weird. So obviously the game starts peaceful, happy. Now it's starting to get a little weird. So there's some dissonance, some minor chords, but there are some like more major chords in part of this song that kind of make it sound a little happier.
Here we go. Wait.
I think it's in a little bit, but every once in a while there's like kind of a happier sounding chord. You might have to wait for
It's
a little
okay.
bit, but at the beginning it's certainly like mysterious and dark,
Well, you know,
ominous.
My thought on it is that it's double dark because it's coming from the Twilight, so that's already inspiring, maybe slightly darker music. But then she's in a position of tragedy when we meet her. So there's two layers of sadness and darkness. I don't know, but I would be really interested to learn if when she transforms at the end, if the music is any different. But anyway.
Ooh. I don't have that one queued up, but I can
That's all
certainly find it and we
Maybe on the
can
break,
check it out.
But
Yeah.
I don't mean to take us off the tracks.
How dare you?
I do want to point out that, of course, all of this music is electronic. It's MIDI music. It was not a live orchestrated performance like in Skyward Sword. But I think it holds up great.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it gets close to sounding like real instruments depending on the song.
It's probably a lot of samples.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think like guitar sounds are probably the easiest ones to sound like close-ish to like guitar picking, where strings can be tough because they're just going to sound electronic no matter what. But yeah, I think it sounds good as well. And I listen to this type of music often while working. I'll just like pick chill Legend of Zelda songs, and there are definitely some Twilight Princess items in
There's
here.
a lot of really great Midna's theme interpretations out there.
Oh,
in
yeah.
particular, I find I don't look for them on purpose, but sometimes I'll be going through like a Zelda cover, whatever album playlist, and I'll be listening and working, and all of a sudden I'm like, ooh, this is great, and I'll realize, oh wait, it's Midna's theme.
Yeah, nice. So this next one is gonna get weird.
Oh, wait.
Oh.
Okay. Oh wow, let's do it. It's fine. I was gonna take a note. Oh right.
So
Yes.
this one, Twilight. It's just called Twilight. I wrote, probably don't listen to this in headphones because it is scary. Scary. It, to me, sounds like the soundtrack to like Silent Hill or something bizarre, a horror movie. It is eerie and spooky and it feels like you're walking through the fog or through the twilight, which makes sense.
You're absolutely right.
So the chords that are playing right now, or noises, I don't even know if they are chords truly. it's hard to tell. I think there's a couple different notes in there.
Yeah.
I don't even know, like, how you would transpose that. Or, like, you know, I wrote, did a cat just sit on a keyboard? Where,
No, I hear you.
it's just making random noises, but I love it because it's just so, like, dissonant and icky.
This really reminds me of when we listened to like the Spirit Temple and stuff for Ocarina, where it was almost sounds, not music.
There will be more of this, more of those kind of just sounds rather than music as we go along in this list, because a lot of the dungeons are like that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So now we're getting into more classical style of music in this piece. But for a while there, I was listening really closely when you first played it, because I thought, are some of these notes being played in reverse? But I don't think so. You know, like the waveform? Is it like when people do the backwards piano stuff?
This one is just fascinating to listen to because it's so odd. Like, with some of these, I'm like, how do you write this? You're just kind of, I feel like you're picking out random notes on the keyboard.
It takes a certain amount of brilliance to, like, make something sound random. I feel that way about the Breath of the Wild soundtrack.
Yes, exactly. For sure. Maybe that's why I like this music and Breath of the Wild so much, is because they're similarly, like, minimalist at times.
They're kind of like experiential or something.
Yeah.
This is great. And it's scarier not hearing like the wolf going
right,
and then Midna going like just the music is way scarier than the music and the sound effects when you're in the moment of the game.
You're just sitting in the weirdness. The bell sounds. The flute.
Yeah, nothing's lining up.
No. I wrote super awesome song and very effective at evoking the Twilight realm. Like, it feels like a spooky, like, netherworld or opposite plane from where you are right now, like the upside down.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels broken. It feels like all these disparate elements have come together, which is also kind of what we understand the Twilight's state in the game is kind of in a broken state. It all lines up. That's great.
I love this one. This one is like 3.5 minutes long.
Yeah, you're still going with it. You're just jamming over there. The audience can't see it, but Kate's like bobbing her head up and down. No, it's not
next
true.
One.
It's not true.
The next one that we're gonna do is unpleasant, but I had to include it because of its unpleasantness and because it makes me laugh at this point.
Let me get my earphones back up.
I wrote truly awful to listen to, especially in headphones. So enjoy.
No idea.
Everyone enjoy. It's not even a song.
Oh, is this the bird music?
It's the Twilight battle music. It's horrible. This is all it is. And I'm sorry for everyone that's
like
listening to this.
when you're fighting not the Guardians, but the Twilight Princess version of the Guardians and stuff.
Yes. This song / noise was on a YouTube video that I stumbled upon one day, that it was like countdown of the most annoying video game moments of like all time. And it is just terrible to listen to.
This is tremendously effective, though. I recall hearing these, because those moments when you are battling I don't even remember what those characters are called, but the minions that are sent from the Twilight with the crazy faces. Yeah, because they're coming through like a broken portal, and again, everything's broken, and so the graphics are kind of broken. Remember, there's all the weird little bit-looking squares floating all over the place, and so I think the music is lining up with that. It really is.
Oh yeah.
But I think that's I'm going to put that one in my new fall asleep playlist. I think.
Yeah, it's peaceful, right? Just puts you
or maybe put it on for that last mile of a bike ride or jog to really like push you to the end.
Yeah.
Get me out of here!
Some of the YouTube comments on this one, with headphones in, it just sounds like a ton of farts reverbed together.
Oh my goodness. I can kind of see that a little bit.
It makes my ears feel like I have water in them. I can see that too. Yeah, listening with headphones is a surreal experience, someone else said. Extremely creepy, just very weird, etc. All right.
Yeah.
Let's move on from that one, shall we? All right. Now we're going to listen to Farron Woods. So this is another 3-minute long guy, but we don't have to listen to the whole thing. But I love the guitar in the background, the kind of repetitive guitar. The melody and that part don't necessarily maybe sound like they'd go together well, but they do. Which is a common theme of Zelda songs, I feel. There are two, like, things happening. There's, like, the thing in the background, and then there's the oddball melody.
You're right. That is kind of a common thing with Zelda music. Like multiple melodies happening, or
Yep.
and they're not necessarily lined up.
Right. Like time-wise, it lines up, but it's. I wouldn't necessarily, like, if I wrote both of these things, I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, let's put those together. It kind of sounds like they should be in two different songs.
It's really fascinating. This is one thing that Zelda does do well with all of its music. We've come across this before. Melodies or melody lines that are just being layered on top of each other and they don't necessarily relate. And I'm wondering, honestly, as we're listening to this right now, if there's... Because video game music is interesting because when it can't have specific swells and quiet points and highlights because it has to almost be kind of in the middle so that it's lining up with your actions that you're doing in the game.
And it has to repeat.
And maybe there's like, some video games have learned how to trigger special moments of music, but I wonder if by having like the different melodies layered on top of each other, it helps it be just a little more... It's ambiguous, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really, is this music coming from a specific place? No, it's just there and it's creating that emotion.
And it doesn't get annoying. Like it's unique enough where it's not like maybe, in older video games where they could only have so much music where it's just the same thing over and over and over again. It's like different enough where you're like, wait, have I heard this part already? Maybe not. It kind of sounds like that other part, but it's not like driving you crazy.
There's a little bit of tension in here.
Yeah, so I wrote kind of sounds like a semi-spooky forest, but not utterly terrifying like Twilight. I can picture like sunlight coming through the trees, but like strange creatures kind of running around. Like you're kind of unsure if this is a good or evil place.
You're good for now kind of music.
Right. Yeah.
Ooh,
but there could be something kind of lurking. I like this one. That's about it. It's pretty peaceful overall, but again, yeah, some of those melody lines are kind of spoopy.
Cool.
So we could do like a couple more and then take a break?
Yeah, I was going to ask how many in are we?
Like 6 or 7.
Okay.
So about almost halfway.
I think that's great.
So let's do Kakariko is Saved. Because
interesting.
I didn't pull up the Kakariko Village theme because, again, that was one that you hear in multiple games. And you're like, all right, it kind of sounds like it would in any other game. This song, however, is tied to the village and it's not, found in other games that I know of.
Right.
And I really, really like this one. So this is a song where when it comes up on my like chill Zelda music playlist, I'm like,
oh, that's cool. I think portions of this song happen during a cutscene.
Yeah.
And that's why this is a little bit more melodic. It doesn't have the disparate, kind of the ambiguous stuff we were just talking about, which is interesting to note.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like a movie soundtrack, sort of. I like this one more than the Kakariko Village theme in this game. Like, I prefer this song. I remember humming and singing along to this song whenever I played the game and heard it because the melodies are just so, like, I don't know, easy to sing. La, 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 la. I wrote, what is it about this melody that's so pleasing? Probably a mixture of the melody itself and the instrumentation that they used. Like this, the kind of, again, another wooden flute kind of sound, which I really like.
They did a good resolve there.
Yeah. I wrote, it's kind of medieval sounding melody and tones, like a knight has saved the day.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Interestingly enough.
And that's so crazy because the aesthetic of Kakariko Village is so Wild West in this game. But they're bringing it back to the medieval stuff too, which is good. Maybe it'd be a little too on the nose if it was like guitar.
We'll get into that later.
Oh, is there one of those?
It's not related to Kakariko Village though. Because yeah, they kind of went all over the place with this game, which is yet again another reason why I like it. There are these more peaceful themes that we listened to in the beginning with Ordon Village, and this one there are the truly creepy, weird Twilight themes. There's kind of Wild West. There's bizarre demonic noises later on. Not in this song.
Yeah. I don't have notes about this, but I want to check over the break. Didn't we learn a year or two ago on one of our other music episodes, or maybe it was a Twilight Princess episode, that I hope I'm getting this right. Wasn't this the first Zelda game that Koji Kondo didn't write everything, and there were like a couple different composers, I guess, and I think there were a couple female composers too. There was one game that was like the first one where Koji Kondo did the theme, but then there was a lot of other people writing other songs. I'm going to check it on the break if I can remember.
Let's do it.
Because that might help us understand why there is all these different styles. But it's great.
Yeah. Well, let's take a break before we get into a big song coming up next. So we'll leave that as a cliffhanger, and we'll go to break, and we'll see you guys in a little bit.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Jake, have you ever been looking for a definitive Nintendo ranking and can't seem to find it because it's just everybody's own opinion?
Honestly, all the time, Sam.
Well, I'm looking for someone to give us the answers.
Wait, you mean like a podcast made by two young, handsome men where they create a definitive top 5 list of all things Nintendo?
Should we just do it ourselves?
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
Let's give it a shot. I'm Sam.
And I'm Jake.
And at Top 5 Nintendo, I'm going to give you my top 5 list.
And I'm going to give you my top 5 list.
And then we're going to duke it out and see what the real top 5 is.
Has this ever happened to you?
This video game is bullshit!
Are you tired of gaping plot holes and boring gameplay mechanics?
Look, all I'm saying is that if a full-fledged Krogan is falling off a platform, there's no way Commander Shepard has the upper arm strength to pull him up.
Has reading become just too tedious of a chore?
Ugh, books.
Are you bored of your same 3 murder podcasts?
Shocking. It's The Butler.
Allow me to introduce you to the brand new fan fiction podcast with an X, hosted by our lovely basement-dwelling and real-life Muppet, Dan McCoy.
Well, that's hurtful.
And myself, of course, the blonde bombshell with the blood of Odin and the great looks of Jake Busey from Starship Troopers.
That's accurate.
And with our powers combined...
No.
Oh, you never let me do what I want to do.
I said no, man. We're not doing that.
Fine. Anyway, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your fix from. Remember, fan fiction with an X.
Hi everybody, David here. I just wanted to take a second to tell you about Another Zelda Podcast's brand new merch store. Yes, we've opened up the store to celebrate the beginning of Season 5. In fact, I'd like to tell you about our Another Zelda Podcast logo t-shirt. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's our logo on a classic t-shirt, but yeah, it does look pretty neat, especially on the 20 different shirt colors that you can select. All of the staple colors like red and green and black are there, but there's also asphalt, military green, slate, royal heather. I'm not joking, that's one of the color selections. So if you're interested in displaying your Another Zelda Podcast fandom, head on over to our website, anotherzeldapodcast.com, and click on the merch tab in our main menu right up on the top of the screen there. All right, let's get back to the show.
Hey guys, welcome back. Thank you for sticking around through the break. We are back.
The spectrum of the tone of your voice just now, you literally were like at the top and the bottom of the voice range that you have in one sentence.
It goes to the game show host territory.
I see.
So yeah, welcome back to Music of Twilight Princess. David pulled up some information on...
I did a quick Google here, and honestly, over at zeldaarchive.fandom.com, and they've allegedly moved over to Gamepedia, blah, blah, blah. They've got that banner, but it doesn't matter. I found out that there was basically 3 composers, Kate, and Koji Kondo was one of them. But it says here, and I'm going to just read a sentence or two. Before I read this, I want to point out, I think it was Skyward Sword where we learned that there were many composers. There were 5 or 6, I think.
That sounds right.
For that one. And I think there were some female composers on that one, and one of them did the Skyloft theme and stuff like that. And I think we specifically noticed different styles in that game when we listened to it. All right, so over here, it's a little bit different, but I can see how maybe this was the beginning of it being not just Koji Kondo. The score for this Zelda-archive.fandom.com says, the score for Twilight Princess was composed by Toru Minegishi, Asuka Ota, and Koji Kondo. Minegishi headed music, composition, and sound design, provided all the field and dungeon music under the supervision of Kondo. So I can see this is Koji Kondo starting to kind of, allow, because maybe just more needs to get written, right? For the E3 trailer, someone else, this other person wrote an actual orchestral arrangements, and you can remember that first trailer.
Yeah.
That was orchestrated. That wasn't MIDI music.
Right.
And it actually, they say here on the website that it made Koji Kondo consider maybe actually doing orchestrated music for Twilight Princess.
Oh.
But I bet you at the time, with the space on the GameCube disc and everything else, they chose not to do it. But eventually it did come around with Skyward Sword, you know?
Yes.
So that's kind of neat. So there was a few people, and I guess I could go in deeper, but that would end up being just me reading the rest of this website. So at least we're informed a little bit. There's a couple people involved, and Koji Kondo supervised a lot of it.
Awesome. Sounds good. Well, I'm sure he had something to do with this next song.
Wow, what a setup.
We are going to listen to, funny enough.
You've got me interested.
Which is... Wait for it. Hyrule Field. So, I believe that a lot of people say this is their favorite version of Hyrule Field. I think it's my favorite version. It evokes, the Ocarina of Time kind of Hyrule Field, but it is just, I don't know, more effective at it. It's a complex song with many different parts, so this is a great example of what we were talking about earlier, where it does repeat, but it has so many different little parts that keep it interesting as you're running through the field. You're not just going like, ugh, you're like, hurry up, let me get to the place I need to go. You're kind of like enjoying the music as you're...
Yeah, it's funny how like even just if the music lines up with a swell, you could just be running past a bad guy or a cliff, but it kind of adds to the experience, doesn't it?
Right.
Yeah, this thing's bouncing all over the place.
I love it. I don't even have many notes for this song because I just like listening to it.
And there are times, Twilight Princess was the first Zelda game where you can spend minutes, and I mean that like 10, 15 minutes in Hyrule Field.
Yeah.
Ocarina, only takes you maybe not even a full real world minute to get across the field.
Oh, this part that's coming up is cool as well because it kind of brings in the danger element to it. All of a sudden, you could be near an enemy, but not necessarily like what you're talking about. They can't control when you're going to be by an enemy. So they kind of bring in music that's enemy adjacent.
Yeah.
And if you're not by an enemy, it's just like kind of part of the potential danger that you might run into.
Gives you that energy, makes you feel like you're moving forward. Obviously, I'm visualizing being on Epona as I listen to this music, but there's plenty of times where you're not on Epona.
It kind of starts over, yeah.
Yeah, wow. And none of the classic Zelda theme in this. The melody of that theme, which is also true for Ocarina of Time. A lot of people think that the bum 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 liam is in the Hyrule Field theme in Ocarina of Time, but it's not at all.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
A lot of YouTube comments on this one. Best Zelda song ever. Gosh, I love this song so much. Best Hyrule Field theme of all the games. Yeah. I agree. I love this song a
It
lot.
feels orchestral, obviously. You get all your little bits and parts.
Absolutely. Yep, I think this is one of the more effective, you can tell that it's not an orchestra like what we were talking about, but I think it's as close as they could get.
It has to have been. Has this song ever been a part of the concert series, the Symphony concert series?
I'm guessing it has.
This would be a blast.
Some version of, like...
I feel like this would be a fun one to be a part of as a musician.
It kind of gives lots of different music instruments or groups the highlight, because that was just like kind of trumpet, and then there's strings. And then
mini solos bouncing around all over the place.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I love it. All right. That one's 5 minutes long, so that's a nice song. What if you want to check it?
Did we play that for 5 minutes just now?
We did not.
Oh, how are you doing these crossfades? How are you bringing the music down? You're really doing
I'm
great.
doing that all on my own, baby, with my DJ skills.
I'm really impressed, honestly. You're doing like live sound cues here on the show.
I'm a pretty big deal.
Noted.
So now we are going to go into the Goron Mines.
Right.
So this one is definitely less melodic, less of a song, more of noise. So I don't know if this counts as music of Twilight Princess, but there will be eventually some melodies.
I think this is in that spectrum of like a classic music, not music, dungeon song kind of thing.
Yeah.
Technically, those are notes. The ging, 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 gung, gung.
Yeah. Wait. Should I
right?
put my other ear in?
Oh, is it only on one side?
No.
Tons of sound effects.
Yes. So I like this one because it does sound like there's like fire just spurting out or burning. There's like mining kind of noises, machinery. And then eventually you get some vocal kind of qualities. That I think is similar to other like Fire Dungeon and Goron Mine themes. They often have that kind of spooky vocal
That's a good point.
sound. I put again, what does writing this melody even look like? Like, what does this look like on sheet music? I wouldn't even know.
There's a couple YouTube channels out there that'll break down Zelda music, and when they do not transpose it, I guess put it on paper, there's just like blobs of notes shoved together.
Right. Yeah, I've definitely watched some YouTube videos on that, of like the bizarro chords.
You know, obviously it's supposed to sound a little bit like maybe those clinks and clanks are coming from the machinery. It's a mine.
Yeah.
This is the first time that a Goron environment is depicted as having like a little bit of technology in it. You know what I mean? Like there's a little steampunk, there's a little bit of machinery in this area. Obviously, we see a lot more of that. Not a lot more. We see some of that as well in Breath of the Wild.
Mm-hmm.
But compared to the Goron experiences in Ocarina, which were almost just primeval, really. You know what I mean? I think the music is accurately depicting an environment that is motivated by some real world things.
Yeah.
At least it's called a mine, not just like the crazy cave with the crazy dinosaur head.
Cave, right? Yeah, absolutely. For some reason, that kind of like that subtle ding, 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 ding melody in the background also reminded me of like an underground Mario level, like the slowed down.
Yeah, I feel like I have heard sounds like that in a Mario game.
Sorry, there are birds outside my window. I'm very distracted.
When birds attack.
All right, so we're going to move on to Lake Hylia because this is one of my favorite songs. So I kind of mentioned this one with Kakariko Village is Saved. It's one of my jams. I really like when it comes on a music playlist. This is one where it comes up and I like have to smile.
You know, both of these songs have that guitar in there. You're kind of responding to that.
To me, it sounds like a day at the beach. Like the strings sound like wind or waves.
Yep, totally.
Like waves. And the guitar kind of reminds you of like the sun shining, a breeze, the birds singing.
I agree 100%.
It's just chilling out, but not like a tropical beach.
Right.
Like it's very.
It's like the beaches we get here in the Midwest.
Exactly. Like I was gonna say, very lake beach.
Oh yeah.
So exactly like what you're saying. It doesn't sound like I'm on an island. It just sounds like I'm like hanging out by the water. It's a beautiful sunny day, having a picnic. Peaceful, sunny.
Yeah, there's zero tension here.
Right. This game is so good at going back and forth between those.
It's unfortunate that the strings do sound really, really synthesized, but it's great. It's fine.
I agree. But this is one where the guitar does sound like more like a realistic instrument, I think. We're just listening.
I'm okay with it.
This one is, just a couple minutes long. But it's pretty repetitive, but again...
This is Lake Hylia, not Zora's Domain or anything?
Correct.
Because this kind of ascending strings thing feels so Zora to me.
So there is... I believe there's a Zora's...
Well, I just realized maybe it's supposed to feel kind of Zora-ish because you're getting close to the Zoras if you're at Lake Hylia.
Right. I'm trying to quickly find if there
these
is
strings,
a Zora song.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm making it up, but these strings feel like they're like almost just like Zora's Domain in Ocarina of Time for me. I could be very wrong about that.
I can see that.
It's cool.
All right. We're going to go to Lakebed Temple
Well,
next.
I'm literally in Lakebed Temple right now on a Wii U replay of Twilight Princess HD right now.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
More creepy. Someone on the YouTube comment says it sounds like you can hear that the boss breathing. That's kind of like what the noises are, as they picture it as more feel like breathing or like in the like waiting for you.
I won't disagree with that.
I put maybe even creepier than Twilight. It does sound like a horror film where someone's like watching or following you.
Yeah, it's all like
I don't like weird tingling noises. Yeah.
We get a little bit of that in the whatever forbidden domain or whatever later on too in the game, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
When Skull Kid shows up, tingling.
I'm not a huge fan of that. It always creeps me out. Like when you watch a movie and it goes like I hate it, like all the plucking strings.
Oh, string plucking, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, what are we getting here? I don't know if it's string plugs. It's almost vibraphone or xylophone.
Yeah. I don't know what it is.
A lot of we're getting a little bit of like the super slowed down, distorted vocals.
Again, breathing sounds.
I think that boom boom boom. I think that's technically a vocal sample.
Oh yeah.
Right there.
I also like the bizarro guitar parts in the middle of nowhere, where that kind of random melody comes in, just for like a second.
Interesting. I don't know if that stuck out to me yet.
Might have
There's
a
that.
little-
I think that's supposed to be kind of xylophone.
I don't like it.
Ooh, but it's getting kind of like magical. Oh, I see.
That's the guitar that I'm talking about.
Wow. I've never really broken this song down this much before. This is great.
It's really creepy and interesting. Again, more bizarre chords.
I never really. I made a reference to the. This is very like Under the Well in Ocarina of Time. These all these like. Wind Waker was before this. Yeah, it was. Huh. Interesting. Well, a lot of people, even Nintendo, when they were making Twilight Princess, even though there's a lot of differences between Twilight Princess and Ocarina, spiritually it was kind of supposed to be
Oops, sorry.
a reimagining. That's fine. That's fine. Queued up
I
Zora.
did bring up Zora's Domain.
No
yeah.
worries. So I can see why there's some of these samples and some of the vocals and the styles. I can see how it is referencing what was happening in Ocarina, personally.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, where are we going? Are we going Zora?
Yeah, I brought that one up since we brought that up, so we can kind of play this one. So the reason I didn't bring this one up initially is that it did sound almost exactly like, Ocarina of Zora's Domain song.
Oh, I think you're right.
It obviously sounds.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
More realistic.
Isn't that funny that when I was listening to Lakebed, I was feeling Zora, but this isn't similar at all.
I mean, it's pretty much verbatim the same song. I think it's funny because one of the comments on this one on YouTube was, "It sounds so similar to Breath of the Wild, Zora's Domain," and someone replied, "The new generation. It's actually Ocarina of Time." Like, this one is in the middle.
Is the Zora theme consistent from Ocarina to Twilight to Breath? It could be.
I mean, there are a few, like the Inside a House, this one, Kakariko Village is often pretty much the same.
I never realized how much this is almost exactly the same song.
Yeah.
The guitars. And they're not, they're up the river in this game, but this has a little bit of that beachy feel.
It does, yeah. This one is definitely more beachy sounding than the lake song.
I wonder why.
So yeah, a little Zora's Domain for you.
Cool.
The next one that I have is one of my favorite songs of this game. So not necessarily.
Is this Zelda's Lament or something like that? Oh, Midla's Lament is what the one was. I was calling it Midna's Theme in the first half.
Is it very quiet for you?
No, it's very loud for me, in fact.
I think my headphones are going out. That's
Could be.
fine.
It could wiggle the chords or something. I'll keep listening. Anything?
Not much. I can hear it very barely in the background. Oh, I can hear. Okay.
That's how loud it is.
Sorry.
I took my headphones off and Kate could hear them from my headphones. I don't know what's going on. Are you okay? Can we do the rest of the episode?
I'll check the next song.
Okay.
But we can talk about Midna's Lament.
Yeah.
In the middle of the technical difficulties. So I tried to learn this one on piano. I can kind of play it at about a third of the speed, basically. I can't play it
Because we had some strings there, but I think that was pretty much only piano in the beginning.
Yes. So it's weird. I can hear the strings, but I can't hear the piano.
Were those are just earbuds, like whatever? They could be maybe they got blown a little bit. Now they're only bringing in certain frequencies.
I could try a different pair after this one.
It's all good.
But this is probably my favorite song that's in conjunction with a scene of the game.
Oh,
so I
yes.
mean,
Why don't you talk about that? I know you like that scene.
It's not. I mean, it's kind of like a cut scene, but also you're playing because you're like running to save Midna. Basically, she's injured. You're running to Princess Zelda to try to save her, and I think it's just very effective in a like Hyrule Field-esque type of way, where it really is evoking urgency, I guess I would say. Where you know what you have to be doing, and it just goes along so perfectly with what you're doing. So you're racing through, and it's not like triumphant like Hyrule Field is. It's like, this is a bad situation. It's not going well. You have to save Midna, poor girl. I'm gonna switch out my headphones while we talk.
Yeah, no problem.
I just love this song, and like I don't try to learn a lot of songs on piano necessarily, but this one, for whatever reason, I was like, yeah, maybe I can try this one.
I'm totally impressed right now. I was emotionally preparing, not emotionally. I was preparing to vamp for you and like try to talk about the song a little bit while you grabbed a different set of headphones. You reached behind you just now, pulled out a set, and then replugged them back in while you were doing your sentences. You're a pro today.
I really
Kate.
am.
You're a pro.
I have a headphone drawer that we're conveniently seated right next to. So
Well, everybody needs that in their life,
there are
really.
multiple headphones. I even have the over the ear ones there
Right
too.
behind
So
you.
I have multiple ways of trying to
We're hearing these songs one way or another.
fix the situation.
Great.
Let me see if I have any other notes about Midna's Lament. Yeah, just goes so well with Wolf Link. Racing to the castle definitely evokes like movement in the same way that Hyrule Field evokes that. All right, let's try the next one, and I'll see if I can hear it this time.
What the heck is this? Are we in the desert or something?
Yes.
Oh, there it is. I recognize that part. Oh, yeah.
So this is Gerudo Desert.
Man, those vocal samples again.
So I like the vocals in the beginning, along with the percussion and the guitar.
Is this the same music that plays when you're kind of like crashing the camp before you get into the dungeon? I wonder. This might just be when you're out there in the desert.
When you're out in the desert and you're kind of running around, yeah.
I see. Any Gerudo things happening here? Nothing sticking out.
No, there's some more additional melodies that come in at like a minute.
Okay.
But yeah, I think this is just when you're trying to navigate through the
think so,
sand
too.
and everything.
Oh,
So
here we
here's
go.
the additional melody. Kind of brings more of that desert vibe into it. I love a good percussion-heavy song. I think that's also why I love the Gerudo song from Ocarina of Time, because it has that weird...
I love it. I love it.
Yes. So I wrote, it's a cool song, but it does not beat the Ocarina of Time Gerudo song. I still like that one more, but I do like this one.
So this is like steel drums or something, like weird versions of steel drums.
Yeah. But then also,
there was obviously bongos in there, and then
But then kind of like Spanish guitar.
yeah.
in a way.
Some shaky sticks.
Bizarro vocals.
Yeah, it's fine. You know, it's an introduction to the temple.
Yeah.
Because you do spend some time out there in the desert.
Yep. However, we're going to skip that.
That's fine.
Because the next one I'm going to is Snow Peak Ruins, which is was in our listener feedback as were they a dwelling that they enjoy. So this one sounds to me like a haunted house in the middle of Antarctica.
Yeah, this one's off. I remember this even in the game. I don't mind saying it, and this one's always a little unsettling for me. I don't always love this song.
Similar to Farron Woods, where you're like, what's behind that door? Like, what's around that corner? I don't know if I trust it. This one is very... So Legend of Zelda music has this recurring melodic theme and the ascending individual notes. So that's what this one does. It's very, to me, like old school Legend of Zelda sounding.
Interesting.
It sounds like this song could have been in older games, pre-Ocarina of Time,
Yes.
Game Boy games.
I agree. Actually, yeah. That like bum 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 bum. That's totally at home.
Yep.
In A Link to the Past or something.
Yeah, for sure. And then I like how they have the more legato notes on top eventually. Not this part. This is still the little...
Ice. Did you just pause it? Oh.
I did pause it on
Okay.
accident. This is another one where, when the little higher up melody joins in with the background ascending notes, it does not sound like those go together at all. Again, it's another thing where they wrote those separately and
Mhm.
it's
Is this what you're talking
very
about?
bizarre. I think maybe a little later, but I like this one again as a repetitive melody that it doesn't sound so repetitive that it drives you crazy. It's definitely, it goes along with the environment of where you are.
Yeah,
And
that's true. That's true. I'm glad you included this one. This one's challenging for me, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Here's the
I see.
longer notes every once in a while, and somehow it does evoke cold to me.
Yeah, well, yeah, the that ding 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 noise, that's always good for like ice and... I wish they'd play it. We should go to it. Was it just percussion? Was that just like a glockenspiel or something doing that?
I don't know.
Or at
Off
least
the
it's
top of
supposed to
my
be.
head.
You know, 'cause
Yeah,
they're all
right.
samples or whatever. Some of them are recorded, some of them aren't.
Right.
Okay, cool.
I like that one.
I wonder, I'm starting to realize, so I have like mixed emotions about Snow Peak Ruins and it's come up a few times on the show.
Mhm.
I wonder if it's actually the song that I'm just really not particularly fond of.
Fair enough. I did include that one not because I was in love with it, but just because it is so kind of different and weird, but again, kind of sounds like an older game got kind of put into
I
the
love
current
it.
one.
Absolutely. I totally agree with the inclusion in this episode.
All right, we're going to move on to Hidden Village. So now
Oh,
we're
wow.
getting the
Full Red Dead Redemption here.
uh-huh.
That weird little mouth thing. That
Yep.
little doing doings.
The mouth harp.
Yep. But this part's so fun in the game. It's almost parody. It's almost
Mhm.
too far. And I'm fine with it.
So I put, I think the composers just wanted to put in a Western type song into the soundtrack because I don't recall Hidden Village having much to do with the plot. I know you have to go there a couple times and there is something you do have to do. It's not an optional side quest from what I recall. It is, you have to go there and
Yeah.
talk to someone.
Yeah.
But it just has, you're kind of why? It's fun, but at the same time you're I don't understand the reason for this part.
The gameplay wise, the only real stand-up thing is that it's one of the few parts in the game you have a full-on not, I don't know, standoff, but shootout with the bokoblins or the
Mm-hmm.
I think it's bokoblins in there with them.
Mhm.
And so I think they just went all the way. I think they just embraced it. The gameplay wise, you're running around with your arrows.
Yep.
And you're doing a shootout and people are shooting at you.
Yep. It's a little stealthy if you want it to be stealthy,
Mhm.
or you can just kind of go in arrows blazing.
And so I think they just went all in. I also wonder I don't want to break it down too much, but I wonder if Hidden Village, because it is kind of just, well, Hidden Village is what it is in the game, but the build, I always wonder, because it's aesthetically very similar to Kakariko. I've often wondered if that shootout experience was going to be somewhere else in the game, and because it was so well designed that they still maybe it didn't fully line up with where it could have been in the. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
So then narratively, you just go well, it's a hidden village over on the side, and we still get we've coded. It's almost like writing a chapter of a book, and you don't want to take that chapter out, even if the surrounding chapters didn't. It just feels that way to me, honestly, because it's such a well realized experience. The Hidden Village,
Mhm.
the music, the gameplay, everything is not half done. It's all very fully done, and even this music is like fully committing to the experience. That I feel like it's one of those things that you don't want it to hit the cutting board or whatever,
Right.
or the chopping block, whatever the expression is. And so I think they still included it because it was so complete, but it does feel a little not supported. But anyway,
Yeah.
I digress.
And it's a cool looking place, like you said. Like it's a cool area to explore, especially once, you know, all your enemies are gone and you can just kind of walk around. And
Yeah, I definitely had
check
like
it
my
out.
heart started racing when the first time I had to do that shootout. It was action packed.
All right, on to something completely different,
Mm-hmm.
as is the theme for this game.
Oh my goodness! Oh right, we're up in the sky.
This is City in the Sky. This is another weird one.
Mm-hmm.
I think I can actually hear people talking
Really?
at times.
It's like a saxophone right there. That's a weird version of a saxophone.
Yeah, but mixed in, you can almost hear like syllables. So this is basically chords with bizarro sound effects and some like voice effects, from my understanding. And I wrote, perhaps the like voices or melodies are supposed to be the creatures like talking to each other.
I think that like boop-a-doop, boop-a-doop is supposed to imply that for sure.
Yeah.
Because this is another one of these things, the oku or whatever, however you pronounce it.
Right.
They're also kind of otherworldly, and you have this impression that they are able to be connected with other dimensions.
Yes. I mean, they look weird, so of course they would sound weird too. This is another one where it's mostly like major chords, I think, but then there's, you know, the
Than that one, yeah.
kind of creepy ones.
This is definitely one of those feeling songs. I remember us talking about this in the previous two music episodes. This is definitely not so much a song as it is a feeling.
Right.
The temple itself is, you know, the city's. In my interpretation was that the city had been abandoned, the city in the sky. And it was, you know, you're kind of going through ruins,
hmm
but then you've got the Oku kind of inhabiting it, which is weird because if you think about the aesthetics of that dungeon,
hmm
that is not the Oku's home. Like, okay,
Right.
so if you go to Goron City in Breath of the Wild, they have their houses, and you can say, "Oh, I can see how people live here."
Mhm.
There is the Oku are just like walking around like they're crabs on rocks on an ocean.
Right.
That dungeon, you know what I mean? It's got to be, there has to be some lore about that dungeon that precedes the Oku being there. But anyway, unless they took it over.
I
Anyways.
mean, it's pretty much. Yeah, so part of the YouTube comments are someone posts like the dialogue that goes in the game during these levels.
Interesting.
So one of them does say like, "Oh, we made it back! Welcome, adventure. This is the Sky City of the Uka," and or Uku or however you would say.
I've always
it.
said Oku, but I have no idea. It's like OOCCOO, isn't
Right.
it?
Exactly. So I guess it is their city in some kind of way.
At least it is now. Ooh, I'm trying to get dramatic.
Like the rats that take over New York City.
Perhaps.
Someone did say also this track is incomplete without the screams of Link falling from the sky. Fair enough. It's a difficult level.
I mean, the dungeon-wise, I just absolutely love that dungeon. We've talked about it in
Mm-hmm.
our Twilight Princess episode. I love the double hook shot stuff, or claw shot technically.
Yeah.
And I like the puzzles that happen in that game, in that dungeon.
That one I have a love-hate relationship with.
Oh, yeah?
With that one. But I do love, yes, kind of swinging, flying around, however you want to describe that movement of, you know, clutching and pulling. And
For me, it's like any version of creative traversal gets exciting for me.
yep, for sure. All right, we have a few left. We're
Let's
going to
do
go
it.
to Palace of
gonna be like you, Kate.
Twilight.
Do it.
Let's do it.
Whoa.
So we are Palace of Twilight.
Oh, whoa. We might have some backwards notes here. Maybe not.
To me, this almost sounds like you're on a spaceship. Like, in line for Space Mountain at Disneyland.
Yeah, it has that like 1970s, 1980s spaceship feel.
Yes, it does.
It's probably an accident.
It's mysterious and otherworldly, which is exactly what it is supposed to sound like. I do want to get to, you you have to listen to this for about a minute still, and then the music does change.
Okay.
So it doesn't just kind of repeat the same thing over and over.
So there's a theme here with a lot of these Twilight Princess songs we're listening to. There's a big theme of a legato melody happening and a staccato melody happening. And a lot of times they're not lined up, and sometimes they are. But I think every song we've listened to, except for the ones that are a little bit more orchestral or a little bit more classic, have this happening. I think there's a good 5 or 6 of them that we've listened to already that have this kind of dissonant thing happening.
I wonder why that is. I wish we could get more information about why they're written that way.
Yeah, I agree. It'd be fun to learn. I might be stretching here, but is it because we're dealing with the two worlds, the Twilight and the regular? There's the thematic thing there.
I like it. I like it. All right, so in about 5 seconds, it's gonna get a little weirder.
Beat drop there almost. You know what? I almost like this more. It's so weird.
Yeah. So someone suggested at this point, this is Xant's corrupting influence, because the first part is more beautiful and calm, and then it gets creepy and unsettling. He's lurking behind the curtains. And it's just kind of, it gets dark and spooky and bizarre again.
Harpsichord or whatever it is there.
It's just so... It kind of went from spaceship to haunted house.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. Well, okay, maybe that's the idea. I'm very curious as to, because remember, there's kind of 2 main parts of this dungeon. There's kind of 2 long corridors basically, and I wonder if in the first corridor we're hearing the first part of this song, and if they, I can't remember, but it would be cool if they dynamically trigger to the second half of the song when you're in the second half. It's conceivable, because they would just loop the first half, and then on the next loop you could fade to the other loop, but I really don't know.
So now it kind of goes back to the spaceship theme, but I liked this one a lot, so I wanted to make sure to include it, because it is very unique, I feel.
A touch of the macabre.
All right, we got a couple left. We're going to go... So this one I pulled up... I didn't plan on pulling this one up, but then we were talking about it earlier. So this is the Twilight Princess.
Okay.
That comes in at the end of the game.
Yes, you grabbed this over the break, I think, because I brought it up, right?
I did. So it already did Midna's theme, that, basically that little melody line. I think it's...
What the heck? What is happening?
Yes, I remember listening to this one at first, and I was like, oh, scary noise is in there.
Is this at the end of the game?
Uh-huh.
Okay, this is normal.
Yep, so Midna's theme comes back in here.
Which is different than Midna's Lament. You're right, there's 2 different things. Yeah. I was confusing both of them earlier.
This is one where actually I don't think the strings sound terrible.
No.
It's probably because they're lower notes. The lower the note, the more realistic the strings sound.
Lower and longer, yeah. I don't know if that was a little oboe over there or what, but something was doing the melody. Wow.
This one sounds more orchestral, for sure, more effectively.
And again, I think most of it happens during the cutscene, so I think that's why it can happen. Are we still listening to it?
We are.
Maybe these changes are because it's kind of cutscene-esque.
Oh yeah, this one is definitely cutscene. So this just sounds like it's straight from a movie.
Right, because they can write it to the beats of the
scene.
Huh. Well, that was an interesting little thing to listen to. That was a lot weirder than I remember it being.
Right. All right, so last one is Beast Gannon Battle.
Oh, I'm into it. Let's do it.
And this one is...
Is this real? This is it?
This is it. The vocal effects are bizarre. A lot of YouTube comments are like, what is he saying? I don't think it's any kind of word. It's
I
just
think
kind of
this I think it's the same sample that was slowed down for some of these other tracks we listened to. When we were hearing like, it sounds, I could be mistaken, but it just sounds like a sped up version, but they pitched it down still.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised since they've done that in other games,
That's
right?
true. I mean, it's kind of got a beat and you can dance to it.
But it's also like, it's tense, you know, you can picture
It is
yourself kind
tense.
of moving around and kind of like trying to get away from someone, or, you know, trying to attack them, trying to...
It's a lot less scary than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I can, like, all I'm seeing right now is a flash mob dancing to this in a Target.
That is not the image that I get, but fair enough. It almost sounds like it should be in like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
Oh my gosh.
instead
Oh my
of
gosh.
Legend of Zelda.
This is so more chill than I thought it was. This is Big Beast Gannon. Run. You know what it could be? You know what it could be? Is in the game, this song could be supported by a ton of sound effects of him going all that
Right.
stuff. I bet you that's why it feels so different as a song. Yeah.
I'm not usually like...
Dude.
I'm not... I wasn't really picking out a lot of like ending song, like Gannon and Zant songs, because a lot of Gannon stuff sounds the same. Like it brings in the same
Oh, there's
melodies.
a theme, yeah.
This one was just like completely out of nowhere.
Mhm.
So that's why I picked this one of the like final boss moments.
I love that you did. My mind's being blown right now. Like, to hear it in this context is so odd.
That's weird. This one was also cool to listen to because I've started the game more often than I've finished it. So like I'm like, what even is this song? Like, when's the last time I actually listened to this one, as opposed to like all the others we listened to at the beginning, which I've heard a million times. Where this one I'm like,
You know, I will say that there's the Big Beast Gannon, the boar. This is when the boar's teleporting in and out, running around. You catch it like a goat. And I just realized there is some tension in the song. And in this part of the battle, even though my memory is painting an image of this big boar really being a threat, the truth is the boar kind of is teleporting in and out. So there's some tension. So actually, I think this song is well placed, because there's a few times where you're waiting for where's he going to show up, where's he going to pop out, and then you try to catch him. But, all right.
someone says it has like that kind of vibe of like a fire dungeoner or Goron kind of theme to it. And I think that goes along with the vocal effects.
Wow, look at that. Super pitch shifted trumpets there. That was
Right.
weird. Wow, that was something else, Kate.
That's what I got for you guys.
Oof.
What do we think about the music as a whole?
It's one thing I've learned today is that it's a lot weirder than I remember. You know, because
Indeed.
Twilight Princess has such a, all things considered, realistic art style, it's easy to accidentally, I don't know, conflate those memories, or like make, paint the memories with the music being much more orchestral and much, I guess more classic, but it's really not at all.
No, it is crazy, and that's one of the reasons I love this game so much, is because so much of it was completely different. It was so much darker. The artwork the graphics got so weird when you get into the Twilight, and the geometric kind of elements come into this like fuzzy, pretty peaceful scenes before that. The music is so weird. You turn into a wolf, like you're turning into another creature all of a sudden, like, but at will, not because you were like forced to be, but like, I
Later in
guess
the
at
game.
the beginning you are forced to be, but you can kind of, I don't know. I love this game so dang much.
Yeah, I really enjoy it too. I really do. And it really, one of the things that's just so strange about Twilight Princess is that somehow it accomplishes feeling just like Ocarina of Time and being like no other Zelda game as well. It's such a weird experience with this game where it's, I don't know, I can't even explain it, but I feel like if you look at a screen grab, you're like, the Ocarina I always wanted.
Yes.
But when you play it, there's so much weird stuff happens.
Yes, I 100% agree.
Crazy. Cool. Well, thanks for doing that deep dive and finding all those songs.
Yeah, thanks for joining me today and listening to some tunes, and I hope you listeners out there enjoyed it as well. If we didn't get to one of your like favorite melodies or songs from the game, leave us a comment. and tell us what song maybe we didn't cover that you really enjoy.
Absolutely. You can leave us a comment if you're listening to this on YouTube, but or actually there's a fair amount of people that are starting to just sign up as members on our website so they can leave comments right on the posts for these episodes.
Nice.
You can do that. That's pretty easy to do. But also you can tweet us at Another Zelda Pod. If you want to have anything to say, if you want to just look at some of our cool pics, you can go to Another Zelda Pod cast on Instagram. That one is different. I always forget that that's the full word. And everything else is over on our website, anotherzeldapodcast.com.
Mm-hmm.
We have all of our blog posts, and now you can access our merch. I'm wearing one of our new merch shirts right now.
Yes.
It's cool. It says it's a secret to everybody on the front with our kind of AZP logo.
Uh-huh.
And then on the back of the shirt, it says Another Zelda Podcast.
Nice.
So it's that cool shirt where people don't know what it's about at first until you say, well, let me turn around, and then you'll know what this shirt's about. That way people can walk up to you and say, what's that? You're like, well, actually, I'm cool, and let me turn around and show you why I'm cool.
Exactly.
That's like, I mean, that's at least how I feel
That's
when
pretty
people
cool.
ask me about it when I'm out in the wilderness, in the world.
In the wilderness.
Yeah. They say, hey, what's
Hyrule
that shirt
Field?
about? And I say, well, I'm cool. That's usually what I lead off with. And,
Right.
and it goes well. They don't run away.
Yeah, I've seen it happen in public. It's weird.
All right. Anyways, yeah, blah blah blah. Our website and all that stuff. You can. Thanks for. I don't know. There's really not much more to say. Kate, if people want to find you, where can they find you?
That's about all we have left. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if they want to find me, I'm on the Instagram. I'm not on Twitter. I'm sorry, but I'm on Instagram at I only take cat and dog pics.
Mm-hmm. You're. I've seen a lack of. Probably with the weather that we've had, we're well into spring and it's still winter for some reason in the Midwest.
Yes.
But soon, I'm guessing there might be a few more of the running posts and the whatnot. I know you were really doing that a lot last year.
Yeah, I'm not running outside yet. I mean, I could be.
I'm
running
not biking outside yet. I'm miserable. Get me on my bike.
I know. I could run outside, but I'm a baby, so I run on a treadmill in my basement. But
at least you get to do that. That's nice.
yeah, I'm gonna hopefully do like a half marathon in the fall, so I should be training for that
That's great.
soon, I think.
Cool. People can find me on Twitter and Instagram at RaptorPaint, and I think we leave it at that.
All right.
Kate, I'm going to see you 4 episodes from now, and we're going to be doing the top 10. We're going to make a top 10 list of like the most beautiful areas in Zelda games, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I guess I'll see you then.
Okay. Bye.